Welcome to the Explosive Strength Podcast with Jared Bidne. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking with my wife, the boss lady, Donna Bidne. We're going to talk about how the gym has grown, how it's changed, and what has developed and not developed over the years. So here we go with Donna Bidne. Donna, say hello to everybody.
Hello, all.
This is her first podcast, so she has a little wine on the table, which is always good for the women out there. So when we first started, you hated lifting weights. You hated the gym. You would not even step foot in the gym, right?
Yeah, all I really knew is that that's all you did was read books and talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. So
Yeah, I don't know much in this world besides lifting weights and trying to improve human performance. I was really impressed tonight that you turned on a Ronnie Coleman documentary.
yeah, I think bodybuilding is quite intriguing. I guess just because we've been in the business of powerlifting for so long, it's kind of intriguing to kind of watch something that you don't know much about, even though I don't really know a ton about powerlifting, but something that you don't really know about, you kind of want to know more about.
Yeah, the muscle tissue growth is really intriguing. You know, I don't know how to grow muscle tissue very much, but I do know how to create explosive power. Lee Haney has visited the gym on several occasions, and he stopped by the other day, and I said, "Man, Lee," I said, "I wish I knew how to grow muscle tissue like you." He said, "I wish I knew how to create explosive power like you." And you sit there and you take a step back, and you're thinking,
What an amazing person to say that to you.
yeah, I mean, Lee is if you get the chance to talk to him, he's so humble and he's willing to help anybody out, do whatever they want to. And I just hope in this world that people get a chance to meet that guy, because Lee Haney is one amazing person and just tries to whatever he can to help anybody out. And I'm sitting there thinking, as he tells me that, when I'm a young child, I'm sitting there trying to learn everything I can about this muscle building, this bodybuilding, and this muscular growth. And my mom and dad buy me this thing, and they buy me this home gym equipment, and thinking that I'll never do anything with it. And my whole point was, you know, you bought this for me, and you believe in me, and I'm going to show you that this is what I want to do. And if it was not for Lee, I would not really and truly be where I'm at today. Lee led me to Louis Simmons, and Louis really helped me understand the performance side of stuff, where Lee's helped me learn a little bit of the muscular growth behind things. But as being an athlete, as a football player and everything else like that, I've wanted to learn the performance, so I've kind of strayed away from the bodybuilding, and I don't really know a lot about it. And so my wife and me, and we started to talk to Lee and trying to understand the muscular growth behind stuff, as to trying to how to be more muscular. We want to be lean and we want to be ripped. But if you look at like Colton or Cody or Kyle, they're extremely strong. You got Kyle Hauser, 151-pound, 15-year-old kid with a 335 bench and IPF for a world record. Not big at all, and people cannot understand how we lift these enormous weights, not be very big. That's because we're behind sports performance, and we're trying to be more sports oriented, because sports is all about relative strength. If you don't have relative strength, and if you're strong and you're fat, or if you're strong and you're heavy, you don't have relative power, and that relative power produces no results. So like, oh yeah, he's big and he's whatever. Okay, yeah, big and whatever is okay, but I was in a discussion with the Georgia Tech strength conditioning coach for basketball the other day. Well, to tell you the truth, it's our job to make these athletes. We give them the performance parameters. We make them stronger. We make them faster. It's not, they're more conditioned. If we increase their VO2 max or whatever, we can improve their performance. We are a performance enhancement specialist. It's the coach's job to improve the skill. So once we get them to where they're stronger and they're faster, if they're not performing on the court, as okay, I'm going to pass the torch to the coach. The coach has to teach them the skill. We can get them to move faster. Okay, you got a coach that comes to you, hey, he's looking slower. Oh, well, he improved from 1.91 on the 10-yard dash to a 1.61. He is almost 0.3 of a second faster in a 10-yard dash. He can get to a short distance in a much faster period. What are you doing with that, coach? What can you do with that? He looks slower. Why is he slower? Where's the skill development on the court to make him that much better? So enough on that rant. I'm going to get back to Donna because she's looking at me with crazy eyes. What's your first remnants or experience of the gym or in the gym in the making? Do you remember?
I just remember when we met. That's pretty much what you did. So you lifted and you trained people, and then when we moved to Georgia,
all right, we met. Where did we meet? I was working at a recreation center.
Mm-hmm. We were working at Bartlett Rec, and
I was this handsome guy. I was this handsome guy that was coming back to get my water bottle, and you were sitting there in a chair taking your kid to karate, and I was like, who's this lady? Right?
Yeah.
Come on, talk.
Yeah, it was. It was like that, I guess.
Oh, now you can't talk. All right. So anyway, I'd always go back to get my water bottle. I would fill my water. I had a lemon water. I was about to fill it, or I was going back to get my protein shake. And I was always checking out this lady.
And I always had my nose in grading papers because at that time I was a teacher, so I really wasn't focused on anything but grading papers and watching my kid do karate. But I noticed this guy, he would always come back and go into this back room, and I'm like, why is he always coming back here?
She thought I was checking her out. I was out to get my damn protein shake. It didn't matter anything. I cared about that protein shake and that water.
I don't think so.
Oh, hell yeah.
Anyway, so we met in this gym, and one thing led to another, and we moved to Georgia, and he ended up getting a job in managing erosion control for the highway. No, before even the highway, it was just erosion control for various.
No, you're skipping some steps here. All right, you're bringing Kyle to karate,
yeah,
and I was working at this recreation center.
Yeah.
Okay. What happened? I'm trying to figure out. Okay. And you missed this step. You had a cousin that was working in the child care department at this recreation center. This was a 55,000 square foot recreation center. I was in charge of the weight room. Her cousin was in charge of the child care center. But me being a people person, I was at the front desk. I was at the pool center.
It was not even like that. Okay. It was like...
All right, tell us.
Okay, so he would always be waiting at the front for his women to come.
Jared likes women.
Who he trained at like, I guess, 6 o'clock or so, because I would bring in Kyle for his karate lesson that was in the back of the gym. And so we'd have to like come through the front entrance, and Jared would always be standing there waiting on his women to arrive so he could do his training class. And so I wasn't even interested at that time in lifting weights. And so I would come in and I would just say hi, and it would just be like a, you know, every time I would come in, he would be there at the front. It was like repetitive, you know, all the time. So months went by of saying hi, hi, hi every time I saw him, and he would come back to the back and get his protein shake or water or whatever, and I didn't really think anything about it. And then one day I told my cousin, I said, you know, there's this guy, and, you know, I say hi to him every day. I bring Kyle, and I'm really interested. And she's like, oh, he's single, and he just broke up with this girl. And she's like, okay, I'm going to call you back in a minute. I'm going to call him.
Yeah, I went on my lunch break. I was at McAllister's Deli, and this is kind of a funny story. And I got the phone call. Hey, my cousin would really like to meet you. Hey, your cousin, okay. Uh, so I said, okay, are you interested or whatever? I said, yeah, I'm available. I'm not dating anyone or anything. So sure, you can give her my number.
But I thought she described you to me.
She did, but she kind of painted a picture of you, but I saw you, but I didn't really understand. I it's just kind of like we talked about.
Yeah, so
She drew a picture of who you were, but I was not. Oh, 100%.
yeah.
That's who this girl is. It's okay. I have an idea, but she did the same thing to you,
Yeah,
right?
I basically told her what you looked like, and she was like, oh, okay, I think I know who you're talking about. And so I was like, oh my. So that she called him, and then he called me, and it was just like, I didn't even know if I was talking to the same person that I had told my cousin about, and he didn't know if he was talking to the same person that he thought that I was. And so it was just kind of like, oh. And so
Yeah, that night I got home. Okay, we kind of went through that McAllister's Deli thing. She called me. I'm walking in to go get my lunch, and hey, my cousin wants to know if you're free or if you're dating him. I said no, and she started describing you and the freckles and the personality, and kind of quiet, kept your head down. Yeah, I know. I had an idea. I think I know who you're talking about. And she goes, okay, well, I'm gonna call you later on tonight. And after I got off work, she called me and said, and your cousin's name was Strouser. Last name was Strouser. And I said, hey, Strouser, how you doing? Because I used to call people by the last name. And she said, hey, fine, fine. And we started talking, hey, my cousin really wants to meet you and stuff like that. And I was trying to really create a conversation with her. She goes, hold on. I got a phone call. Let me call you back. And I said, okay. And because I didn't have your cousin's number stored in my phone, she calls me back. And I said, hey, Strouser, how you doing? Just trying to be nice and friendly. This is not Stephanie. This is Donna. I was like, oh, shit. That's the first time I've talked to you, is when I thought I was calling her back, but I was actually talking to you. And I said, that's kind of.
But we stayed on the phone talking for like hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, it was on the phone till like almost 3:00 in the morning.
And then I had to get up and go to teach school the next morning, so that was pretty rough. And
yeah, I didn't have to be at work till 4:00 in the afternoon, so I could talk all night.
Yeah, so we ended up meeting on Friday night, and
Yeah, well, the thing about us meeting is,
we thought we knew who we were meeting, but we really weren't sure.
yeah, and I had to go to the mall that day. I had to go buy some jeans.
Yeah, so
Had to make sure I looked fresh.
Whatever. And,
Hey, but look, you had a couple of glasses of wine before I got there, right?
no, I didn't drink wine then. I had a couple of beers before you got there because I was so nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope that he's like who I think he's going to be, because I don't know if she knew what she was doing. And
We didn't know that we knew each other, or we didn't even know that we was looking at each other.
yeah, so anyway, so we ended up connecting immediately, and just talked and drove around until all hours of the night.
Yeah,
and
we didn't have any. We didn't even really drink. I didn't drink anything at the time, and you didn't drink anything at the time. Well, you did before, and I didn't before, but we drink a bottle of wine or a glass of wine a night. Now, me a bottle, you a glass. That's okay.
Yeah,
It's the same
whatever.
thing.
It's all good.
But yeah, we ended up meeting, and we stayed up together at about 5 a.m. We was just driving around the city of Memphis. We even drove around Memphis twice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then we met. Then we hit it off, and
And then he kept telling me about this town in Georgia that I needed to move to because that's where he was raised.
Well, I had to try to portray you on where we was going. What I said, you told. Well, we tried to be legit with each other. You know, I asked you what you wanted. You asked me what I wanted.
And we both wanted to pretty much move out of Memphis, but we didn't really know where we wanted to go.
But you wanted to be close to the lake.
I wanted
You want to be close to the mountains, and you want to be in a small town, and you want to be close to the beach.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where my hometown was from. We're 3 or 4 hours from the mountains. We're 4 hours from the beach. We're 2 or 3 hours from the lake. We were kind of in the center location of kind of what you wanted, right?
Yeah, at the time, yeah.
At the time. So what does that mean? Come on.
Yeah, so we ended up moving to his hometown, and ends up being where they filmed The Walking Dead.
Well, when we came here,
it wasn't. It
no.
was empty.
Yeah,
and I loved it.
When we started here, I worked at this hardware store downtown Sonoy. No red lights, nothing. I could walk out at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and no one on the street. This was the ideal small town USA.
Yeah.
You know, we had one red light, but then they took the red light down and made a stop sign because the red light was useless, basically.
Yeah.
And you went into the hardware store, and Mr. Jimmy, this guy came. I'm going to tell y'all a hardware story real quick. This guy came in. He wanted a belt for his vacuum cleaner, and Mr. Jimmy did not have it. So Mr. Jimmy said, "Hey, look," and he told me to go next door, which he had like 3 compartment stores next door. Hey, go get this. And I went and got this, and I came back with a leather shoestring. And Mr. Jimmy told that guy, hey, say, look, I don't have a vacuum cleaner belt, but if you make this shoestring, this length, this leather, it still work for the vacuum cleaner. Mr. Jimmy would sell you on anything. But, you know, he was there from 8 a.m. to 7 or 8 p.m. every day.
He was the truest version of a businessman. He was the kindest, most generous person that I ever met at the time, and there's just not a lot of people out there like that anymore.
No, he would always push me. You know, I worked at a hardware store, but I cut grass. I watered flowers. I painted buildings. I moved boxes.
He was a businessman.
I weeded ditches. I even cut his entire yard with a weed eater. This guy needed stuff done, but he had the personality to tell someone how to do it.
Yeah.
But nowadays, when you tell a kid to do something, they're looking at you and they're back talking you, and you're like, I ain't gonna listen.
Yeah, they don't want to do it. But yeah, so that was my first impression of this town that he wanted me to move to.
We were a true small town when we moved here.
Mm-hmm.
But as we moved, The Walking Dead, actually, the dead came to alive.
Yeah, it kind of brought the town alive, and it's like too much so now that you can't even really go down there. But
yeah, we can't even get a parking spot nowadays.
yeah, it's crazy. And before you could park and you wouldn't have an issue, but when Jared and I first met, I feel like was kind of under the impression that I just had one child from a previous marriage.
Oh, yeah. We talked on that phone the first night for almost 3 a.m. And I didn't know anything. You know, I'm just a young kid. And we're talking all night. I'll go to the mall next day. I mean, these fresh new jeans, you know.
Getting ready for your date.
Yeah, and for y'all that don't know me, I like to do what, Donna?
Spend money.
Yep, I don't care about prices. I think price and I think money holds you back in this world. So if I see it, I buy it. And then nowadays, when I'm married, I get bitched at because how much was that? Well, I don't know.
I like sales racks.
If I see it, I buy it. That's how it is. I don't think we should, in this world, should be hindered by our money thought processes. And you?
I think you should look for a sale.
No. If you see it, you want it, you buy it. Anyway, let's get off that tangent. So anyway, I bought me these nice new jeans.
I give him a call, and thank God he didn't answer the phone. And I left him a message. I was like, well, I know you probably think that I have one son, but I really have 3, and I understand if you really don't want to go out on a date with me tonight because that's, understandable because I do have three kids, and
My balls hit the floor.
yeah, I'm sure they did.
I was looking at the sky that day, and I was like, before she even called, I looked at the sky. I said, today, my life's about to change. And I was going on a blind date.
But not really a blind date.
We kind of knew, but we didn't really know. Mm-hmm. I looked at the sky, and I said, today, Lord, my life's about to change. And I walked up to my apartment, and I got dressed and got ready for the night. Then we met you, and we drove around the city of Memphis, 2 or 3 times?
Yeah, it was a lot. I guess because it was just so easy to just have a conversation. We were so much alike, but we were so different. And I always wondered, like my mom would always say, because my parents were married forever and Jared's parents are still together, that, when you meet somebody, you will know that they're, the right person, because I married right out of high school, and sometimes that just doesn't work out because you change so much. And I didn't really understand what my mom had said, that you'll know. I'm like, no, you won't, because I had dated several people, and it just, it just didn't feel right. And so immediately, like, just talking to him, I'm like, oh my gosh, I know so much more about him than I ever knew about my ex-husband in the 10 years that I was with him, so it's just crazy.
Yeah, for those you need to open up and be yourself.
And I think that was the problem, is that,
at that point in my life, I was kind of frustrated how my life had turned out.
And I was frustrated too.
But we learned from our past experiences. I should have done this and I should have done that.
Well, I think the whole thing in a nutshell is people try so hard because they want somebody in their life and they're not themselves. But I think ultimately, if you're yourself, and you meet somebody that just is, the same way, they're themselves, that it just it just works,
Yeah. I've been myself, and I guess you kind of realize I don't know anything in this world but weightlifting.
Yeah.
I know the body and everything else.
It was very frustrating.
We've been, I'd try to press your ass in the gym and try to make you do this stuff. But
I guess
but I try to keep teaching you, because I want people to be better. But like, how long have you been working out?
I've been working out for 3 years, and
how long have we been married? 12.
12. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Been together.
Hey,
we've been together almost 13. But
hey, yeah, but it took 9 years to get her on the weights. That's a long time.
It is. I was very reluctant, I guess.
But now, today, today, you sat there and yawned in bed, and you raised your arms above your head and said, man, look at that muscle.
I think it just, I was very reluctant to lift weights, I guess, because as people, when I was in high school, people would lift weights, and I never wanted to be around people. And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of people, is they don't really feel confident enough to go into a gym, and because everybody else has probably been there for years, or they're going to be condemned or looked upon in a different way. And I never wanted to go into a gym because I didn't want to be looked upon like that. And I think, and I kind of felt like that starting working out in our gym, but I knew the kids, and I just, if they would give me shit, then I would give them shit right back. So it didn't really matter.
But you don't even care what they think about you.
I really don't.
Because you're in there to help you.
Yeah, I'm just there to kind of do what I need to do and get done and move on.
But sometimes people like you will sit there and do what you need to do. That's what these young kids need to realize. If they go in there to do them, to be them, and be who they are, they can be something. Just because you're not good today does not mean you can't be great later.
Yeah, I think that's the problem is, these kids, you have to start somewhere, and I've had health path that I don't really want to go down.
No,
But
let's talk about that. You've had Hodgkin's lymphoma, right?
I had Hodgkin's lymphoma when I was 13 and survived that, and then from the radiation, because I was a patient at St. Jude, I years ago, that was in 1989. So at that point, radiation was just so extreme that the chemo and the radiation at the same time, they didn't really know. It was just experimental. So that combination caused me to have thyroid cancer. So I had to have my thyroid taken out, and then several years after that, I found out I had breast cancer. So I had to have a double mastectomy, and it was pretty extreme where they had to move my lats and around.
Yeah,
so,
you're basically your lats cover your chest, right?
yeah.
And when I tell you to do a pull up or something like that, you're like, I can't.
It's real. It hurts.
But guess what? You do it.
I do it, and I work through the pain, and
Just because someone says your back's hurt, we listen to Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman goes to the gym every day, regardless of what the doctors say. These doctors are not.
it's pretty amazing. I try not to complain about anything, and I've always been that way because I had my double mastectomy, and they cut my back and my front, moved my lats around, and I went back to work 2 weeks later because I couldn't sit at home. I'm just like that, but it took me a while with my doctor telling me, all this, that, and the other, and I was like, you know what? I guess really probably after I had because I ended up having a hysterectomy, and that's when I gained my weight, and I was like, you know what? I got to do something. So I think that's when I got in the gym and started working out and started seeing results. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. It's all about, he said this for years, and I just, I didn't have the buy-in, and then I saw results, and I was like, damn, this is crazy, and then I knew that the boys had gotten stronger, and I just was like, that's just because they're young, and their testosterone is just kicking in, and I don't have anything to help me. So, but once you get
at this point, you have zero hormones.
Yeah, I don't have anything. So it's kind of frustrating because I want certain I have certain goals, and I want to see certain results.
You want the abs to look this way. You want the legs to look this way.
I don't have anything driving that, so it's quite frustrating. Yeah.
Let's get back to the boys. We started out in the garage.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that? You hate it.
I remember.
Me tortured the kids. I was beating them with a whip. I didn't have a whip. I had a bar on their back.
It's kind of like that. As a mom, you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, don't hurt my babies. And then they knew how to buy into that. They would manipulate me into seeing them cry and all this. I'm like, that's it. Don't touch them anymore.
Don't touch my. Now look. These are my stepchildren. I'm dealing with stepkids and a new wife, and she walks into the garage, sees her babies crying
yelling everywhere
with a bar on their back.
Yeah, and
but you know what? They have come to love it.
They persevered, and it's crazy to see the love that they have for lifting. Cody is 23, and he still lifts. And through everything, he just loves it. And
now he's teaching his girlfriend.
He has a friend that he goes and lifts with. And Cody grew up knowing powerlifting, and his friend supposedly knows bodybuilding. So they kind of go back and forth. And then he is teaching his girlfriend to love lifting as well. So it's amazing how it transforms your life and the love that you have for it.
Yeah, the greatest part about being a strength coach is I've always tried to make the kids better than me. And for all three of them, they are better than me at all stages in life to where they are now.
Yeah.
And Cody's now teaching his girlfriend, which is much better than I was at that age, and he's trying to teach her how to listen and the importance of it. It's a truly a life lesson. And Cody's a world record holder.
Yeah, and Kyle is trying to find a gym that's similar to our gym, where he is going to college, but it's so difficult because, once you have lifted in a certain way and you go to just a regular gym, it's frustrating because they don't have what you want in that gym. So you kind of talk yourself out of lifting because you want that real
these
gym
average
experience.
commercial gyms are not us. If you want average results, you go to average gym, and there's not very many result-oriented gyms out there. And so it's very frustrating. If you go to a commercial gym, you're backtracking.
Yeah. I think the problem is that people, society sees that all this stuff about cardio and all this, but I mean,
cardio is the death of muscle tissue for those of you that don't know. So if you want to do cardio, go kill your muscle. Feel free.
Yeah, I always thought that too. And then when I lost so much weight just lifting and not really even dieting, I was like, oh my God, because I had gained like 10 pounds from having a hysterectomy, and I was just miserable. And when I lost weight, I was like, wow, I'm not even trying to diet or anything. I'm just losing weight and building muscle, and it was just crazy. But I think society just really believes that cardio is the way, and you see all these people who are like, they run and all this, and you're thinking, wow, they're running, but they're not like thin, and they're not muscular, and they're just kind of there, so I don't really know what sparked that interest,
but she's really tried to learn over the time and over the years, but we're not average, and I don't like average things. And she complains to me, hey, these dumbbells are not on a rack. This mat's not perpendicular to this floor plan.
I just like clean stuff. That's just it.
It's organized, but you know what? The gym is not organized because we're a bunch of warriors fighting. After you get done with a fight, nothing's organized. So it's kind of like,
my thoughts are, put the shit up. If you use it, you put it up.
Yeah, but we're not organized individuals. When you go to war, you're not worried about where the stuff goes. We're in there to get better. And so once we're fighting for a plan, or once we're fighting for a number, once we're doing this, we don't care about, oh, I am so sorry I did not place this dumbbell back in the right spot on the rack. Oh, I did not put my bar back. You know what?
Yeah.
A commercial gym may be that way because that's the way most of the population's been trained. Put your stuff back, be clean, move home, because I'm worried about losing a client. You know what? I tell you one thing, Jared Bidne is not worried about losing a client. He's worried about losing a result. So if I lose a result, I don't care about that client. The whole thing is, we are there to help the next person. Just like my wife, it took her 90,000 years to learn that you have to do this. It's not what you see on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, or even YouTube. You have to get in the gym and experiment yourself. And
so basically,
she's not always bought into that stuff, and I try to teach her.
Yeah, so when we moved to Georgia, Jared had this job where he was managing.
I was when we first got to Georgia, I was an erosion control supervisor, which means
we basically moved here because I got a teaching job, and he was like, okay, I sold my house within 2 weeks, and we knew that was God's plan for us, so we moved, and we got here, and he was absolutely miserable. He would sit while he was supposed to be watching his people, and he'd read and he'd listen, read and listen, read and listen
I got to read books and stuff.
about lifting weights and how to get better and stronger and faster and more explosive. And my parents at the time were living in Memphis, and they were going to be my mom wanted to move to Georgia, where the boys were, and so they ended up moving. And my dad's like, look, if you're all about that, just go start a gym. And at that time, it was right after the recession. You had been laid off from erosion control, and
Yep. 2008.
And he had applied all these different jobs.
I applied for McDonald's, Home Depot, Lowe's,
Chick-fil-A, everywhere.
Chick-fil-A. I did anything it took to get a job.
And nobody would hire him, and it was just like so frustrating.
I went to apply for a job delivering flowers.
That would have been fun.
And I went for an interview. The guy said, "You're overqualified." I said, "I don't care if I'm overqualified. I'll do the best flower delivery you have. I just need a job. I've got a family. I got a wife and 3 kids." And he said, "I'm sorry." And I said, "Okay, thank you." And I left. But you know, once you're kind of shut down a path, I had an education, so I was highly educated because I had a degree from Memphis, exercise science, and I'm willing to work and do whatever you want to, but you don't want me.
And what I thought was quite interesting is watching that documentary about Ronnie and how he had an accounting degree, but he couldn't even get a job as an accountant because he didn't have experience.
Yeah.
And that's just crazy to me because that's what's wrong with society. I
Okay.
mean,
These people can go play the lottery and know the odds of losing are much greater than they could imagine.
and they still invest all this money into it.
And they still do it. But
That's like gambling.
someone that knows something does not get picked for the job.
Yeah.
You know?
And he even said that he was like really qualified to be an accountant, but he didn't have the experience, so he never got hired, never got the opportunity. And that's, I think, what's so frustrating is you have these people that want to work, whether they're overqualified or underqualified, they still want to work. They would do the best of their ability, and nobody wants to hire them. So,
And what I asked for what they wanted to pay. I didn't go out of my region and, hey, I demand this.
yeah. So,
You know, it's just like him.
it was very frustrating. It was a very stressful time in our life because
The bills being paid was,
struggle.
yeah, for real.
And so my dad's like, look, you want to open this gym? Find a place. We'll help you. Start this gym. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And so we looked for a place. We started out really small.
Well, we were lucky because we started off with 1,700 square feet. And at the time of the recession, we were given 6 months rent free.
Yeah.
You know, that helped a lot. And I was going to do my best. And when I got my
I
first,
think you just didn't want to let down my dad, you know.
I didn't want to let down your dad. I didn't want to let down anybody. I didn't want to let down you. I didn't want to let down the kids. I didn't want to let down.
It was a struggle.
Because
Because you're starting out with like nothing, you know. And
well, basically, people believed in me when I did not believe in myself.
yeah, and we really didn't. We
And-
tried to.
And you've
to
always done.
advertise.
You've always believed in me,
Yeah,
even when I don't believe in myself.
yeah,
Because I struggle a lot. I don't think I know anything, and I think that's because the more I learn, the more I feel like I don't know, and so then I don't want to showcase that.
I think it's amazing though that we tried to put the name out there. We tried to advertise. We tried to like put flyers on cars and all that, and we got like absolutely no response.
Oh yeah, look, I remember this. She was yelling at me, "Why are you not putting flowers in these mailboxes? Why are you not doing this? You need to be doing all this other stuff to advertise." I would go out and I would put flowers on mailboxes. I would put flyers out on their driveways by putting a little rocking a bag with my name card and everything else. And one day, I got highly pissed off. This is the last time I ever put a flyer on everything, on anything or whatever. Do you remember it? Do you know what I'm talking about? I put a flyer out on this person's mailbox. He comes, takes the flyer off the mailbox.
Oh, he ripped it up.
No. Threw it in front of the lawnmower.
That was pretty stupid. Because it ripped and shredded all in his yard.
Yeah. But that pissed me off. I said, this guy has no clue and does not want to know. But, you know, these people putting flowers on your mailbox or whatever, sometimes they're average and sometimes they're not.
You just don't know the difference.
You don't know the difference. So I'm sitting there trying my best. Almost print out 1,000 flyers, mailbox, windshield wipers, soccer complexes, wherever I went to schools. Some strength coaches from the schools would even come visit the gym. Then they'd talk shit about me, about what I knew. You know, it's kind of like I try to help them, but they turn around and talk crap about me. But if you look at what they do, they don't understand what they do. They just want to be able to learn about you so they can talk enough about you to go talk about crap to you, about their kids to you.
Well, and I never really understood it until, you know, going through it myself with the boys and seeing that these coaches are really, they went to school to be teachers like I did. They didn't go to school to be coaches. And so they get these jobs and they go into the weight room and they're teaching these kids and they really have no education how to teach these kids how to lift weights, but yet they're a teacher. So these parents are thinking, oh, well, my kid's in weightlifting and they're going to get better and they're going to get stronger and they're going to do this, that, and the other. But really they're not, because they're going to a class where a teacher is teaching them how to lift weights, and really they're not, because the kids are kind of in charge of like spotting these other kids, and the kids don't even pay attention. You're talking about a kid who probably can lift like 80 pounds, and if they come to our gym, they're like lifting triple that or more, and so these kids can't spot them. So they come in, they complain about how, you know, they're not being spotted. They don't want to die in the weight room in high school, so they don't even try. And so I don't know. It's just a waste of time.
Yeah, as far as the coaches in high school go, they're not trying to press these kids to get,
because they don't know.
They're not. I tell you one thing. I guarantee you, these high school coaches do not test the kids on a monthly basis.
No.
And so, a monthly program. If you really truly want to train an athlete, you need to monitor workout 1 to workout 2, workout 2 to workout 3. Workout 4 should be based off of how 1, 2, and 3 went. And if you're not doing that, you're a failure, because you're not monitoring the kid to help them progress to 5 and 6 and 7.
Well, it's just basically they're getting a paycheck. They're getting a salary paycheck month to month, and they don't really care.
No, a high school coach or a collegiate coach, they're getting a paycheck, a salary pay. Mm-hmm. They're not. If you want to talk to me, I don't require contracts. I'm a month-to-month gym.
It's not, hey, you need to pay for 3 months, or you need to pay for 6 months, or you need to pay for 9 months.
Yeah, we're not locking anyone in. You know what? Because I don't care about that. I don't believe in that. When I was a young kid, I didn't want to. I hated it. I went to World Gym. Oh, you got to pay for the entire summer. And I was like, screw you, buddy. I didn't want to do that. But you know what? I was fortunate enough to have parents that paid for me to do that. But all those people cared about was the money. They didn't care about me or my results. All I care about is the results of the kids. My whole job as a S&C coach is to make the kids better than I was, better than I am. And if I fail to do that, I'm a failure as a strength and conditioning coach. So the whole bottom line of everything is I'm there to help the kid.
We started this gym from like nobody.
No, we
We
didn't.
had like one guy, Jared.
Jared
Rod,
J Rod, yeah, JAR.
ROD, and
We started.
he came to our garage and he would work out. And Jared knew his
No,
brother
no,
from
no,
high
no,
school.
no. Justin started in the garage.
Jared did.
Justin did. The older brother of Jared. Then he sent Jared to the gym.
Okay.
To the gym, to the house.
Yeah. So.
And then I said, Donna,
It was kind of weird having like
you
people
can't
come to your
have people
house.
come to your house as a client.
Yeah.
That's a creepo.
Yeah.
And I was what, 25, 26 at the time?
25, yeah.
And at the time, at 25 years old, I'm thinking of a freaking creepo coming to my house. I'm not a creepy person.
Yeah, so that's when we kind of had the idea of just doing the gym, and so we ended up finding this place, and it was a small place, and we bought a few racks and very minimal equipment because that's all the money that we had. And
Yeah, we started this. We found a place that was 1,700 square feet. I had bars that the University of Memphis gave me because they were rusted during a firestorm.
yeah,
I had a bench that the University of Memphis gave me. I had a rack that I bought at a yard sale when me and your dad drove by and saw it. And I had dumbbells that the University of Memphis gave me. When I was at the University of Memphis, the turf room caught on fire. And next to the turf room was the weight room. Once they put out the fire, some of the weights and some of the stuff in the weight room got wet. And once it got wet, they could not use it in the collegiate setting, so they had to dispose of it. It was sitting outside for months, and I went and asked Coach, hey, Coach, what are you all going to do with that stuff? Throw it away. I said, can I have it? I said, because I'd like to have a couple of bars and a bench or two. I put the bars and the bench and several dumbbells in the back of my truck. We went to a bowl game in Mobile, Alabama, and I was giving oh, boy. All the players on that bus. Oh, I know whose truck that is because I had a truck at the time, but I had that thing loaded with bars, a bench, and some dumbbells. And I said, you know what? I said, yeah, you're right, because that's all I know. And they still continue to give me crap. But then I had to go to work at the Redbirds, and I had to go to work at the Recreation Center. So about 2 or 3 years later, that was in my garage. And that's where the kids started working. It was the stuff that the University of Memphis gave me.
yeah. So we basically started from one person, and then luckily we were able to.
Well, that guy that we started with Justin.
And then
Justin
Jared,
knew his brother Jared, which Jared was.
he worked at a cheerleading place.
Yeah, and so luckily, and we didn't even plan this at all. The only building, what we tried to do was, we are the center point of two counties, Fayette County and Coweta County. And we looked online to try to be strategic about this. I wanted the furthest high school in Fayette and the furthest high school in Coweta. We pinpointed those two locations. Then we center pointed those two locations. And it was basically Tyrone, where our first location is. Mm-hmm. And we're pretty much a mile and a half now from where the other place was. So we've tried to center point ourselves between two counties. That's kind of how we've done it.
Yeah, but it's kind of funny how you grow.
But let's get to the point to where we were concerned with the center point at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. It was hard to find a place that was going to be reasonably priced for us because we really didn't
we didn't.
know
We,
how it
we
was
had
gonna.
no money. We had no equipment.
Yeah, we didn't.
We had
really
no income
know.
because I had no job because I lost my job with erosion control.
Yeah, we didn't know how it was going to turn out, how it was going to go over. Originally, I guess when we first started, he had a different plan than what I did, and so it was just, I was just trying to get anybody and everybody, and he didn't want anybody and everybody. He wanted like elite athletes, but in the end, he ended up winning because he ended up getting.
I want a conversation.
He did. So
Jeez. Hey,
we
hey,
had we
hey!
ended up
Everybody
passing
around the world, I won one conversation with a woman. That's the only one I ever won.
we passed out all these flyers, and we had like one person show up, and they were just like never going to be an athlete. You could clearly tell. They came like once, I think. It was kind of pathetic.
My standard to even join the gym at that point in 2008, if you did not jump a 5-foot broad jump, you were not allowed to come to the gym.
Well, and my standard was I'm taking anybody, everybody.
Oh, if you can't jump 1 inch, you're here. Hell no. You've got to be around the people that you want to be around.
So we ended up meeting the Smith family and
Danielle, Chanel,
and
Joe, and Charisse, and Burnell.
And
I'm going to give all their names because
we love them, and it's kind of funny because all the kids that were like the original kids are just so near and dear to your heart. You just
they still talk to me today, 10 years later,
and you just never forget them, and it's just very heartfelt.
Those are the kids you could cuss out, and their parents are still going to bring them to the gym.
Yeah, and it's funny because you could tell them all kinds of stuff because I would tell them my thoughts on stuff, and all those years I kind of would talk to the athletes and tell them my thoughts and hey, you're doing this and hey, you're doing that in your life as a person outside of the athlete world, and some of them would listen, some of them wouldn't, and you just become very close with them and their family, and it's just crazy, to see now they're grown. Some of them have kids, and some of them are married, and you think, damn, I'm old, but you still persevere and you still go on and you still have your same thought processes. You want athletes to get better and stronger and faster and be more explosive, and mentality now is just so different than what it was when we first started.
Yeah, they don't grind as hard, and the parents are more.
They're weaker.
Yeah,
minded,
weaker. Yes, it's the mind. And the kids are a result of the parent.
Yeah, and it's really sad because, and I didn't really realize that until, like, as I got older, I guess. You look back.
We've seen it develop through the gym.
Mm-hmm.
The kids nowadays are like, I don't want to do it. The parents come in, well, we're going to see if the kid wants to do this or not.
Yeah.
Or when like Charisse and Shaheen and Todd and we have the Drummond dad nowadays.
Yeah.
That they're going to do this whether they want to do this or not.
Yeah.
Because
so
what happens is,
oh well, they're crying. Let's just not bring them back.
They're crying. Well, get the hell out of my way.
Yeah.
Because if you got a kid that does not want to be there,
don't bring him back.
No.
He's not going to do anything. It's going to be a waste of time.
Yeah, it's going to be a waste of my life. Yeah. My education is to help the best that want to be the best. If you think your kid's not really good, you force them to do something that they don't want to do until they fail at what they don't want to do.
I think the funniest thing is when you have a parent that brings their kid and they're like, oh, he's so strong and he's so fast. And you're like, oh.
Then you test them, they're like, oh.
Yeah, they're like super slow and they're not strong. And
yeah,
you're like, what world are you living in?
Yeah, what the hell movie you been watching? Oh, just shit. I didn't know Bambi was still alive.
Yeah, it's just kind of crazy how, life is, talking to people that haven't really had their kids in the gym and haven't really had their kids. I just am curious to see, like, how they've tested their kids to know that they're strong and know that they're fast,
You talk about testing. There's gyms around us that take or have clients, and they want to compare themselves to explosive mechanics.
Yeah.
They can't because you know what? They are a liar to society.
Well, and the whole ladder shit, it just pisses me off. And
Yeah.
I'm not even like,
Yeah, and she don't know anything, but she knows ladder. When you use the ladder, you do not get full hip power. You do not get a full extension of the hip. And so these people want to portray, hey, I'm going to paint this picture that we're going to do this, this, and this because that's what you believe.
well, I think the main thing is they're trying to like market to society, but society knows absolutely nothing. So it's almost like, okay, well, I want my kid to get stronger and I want
But
my
they
kid
don't
to
test.
get faster, but they're not even lifting weights and they're doing all this bullshit, So you're sitting there thinking,
Yeah,
well,
the
how are you even knowing that your kid's getting faster?
Hey, look, no, we watched the video of a competitor down the street playing with freaking pool noodles. They don't have the room to test a 40-yard dash. They don't have room to test even a 30-yard dash. And they don't do bench or they don't do squat. They're playing games and selling themselves as a sports performance place.
Well, it's like Willis. Okay, so
Okay.
So let's give
you
an
can't call
example.
names out.
let's give an example of Willis.
Well,
So his name's really not Willis, but his name is Willis.
yeah, we're gonna call Willis because we didn't tell you his true name.
His true name is William,
No, it's Willis.
but we call him Willis.
Because Willis don't even deserve the name to be William.
I love Willis. So Willis has been coming to the gym for what?
Since he was in 6th grade. Well,
Has it been that long?
Yeah, he started 6th grade. And he did not continue to stay with the gym because...
He thought he could go somewhere else and get better.
Yeah. So we took Willis from a 6'1", 6 flat 40 to a 5'2", 5'3", 40. He quit coming to the gym. He wanted to go to a speed place because he thought he needed speed to get better. Mm-hmm. Speed training.
And he did all this crazy agility, ladder crap.
Yeah. And
everybody thinks makes their kids get better.
And so Willis went to this speed place for a year and a half. Same thing about this kid named D. We're not going to talk about...
his friend.
Yeah, D. Anyway, Willis went to this place. Willis did not get better. So his dad brings him back. Well, we didn't want to bring him back because his back was aggravated. I said, but he got faster. I said, if you need this kid to run a 6'7", 6'6", 60-yard dash as a baseball player, screw his back.
Well, and I thought...
Hey, look, what about Ronnie Coleman? Ronnie Coleman said, screw my body. I still lift regardless of what happens.
Exactly. So
if you want something, hey, look, we're not saying that sports performance is a health and fitness world. It's a performance world. And a performance world may not be the healthiest thing on earth. But if you want to perform, you need to do what it takes to perform. If you want health and fitness, you need to go to the freaking fitness place down the street that has no freaking clue about life and wants to sell you on a fucking ladder drill. Oops, shouldn't have said effing. But that's what pisses me off. If you want my true freaking opinion, you do baby cakes and you'll get baby cakes. You want to do big cakes, you better do big time stuff or you're going to get little time crap.
Well, so I thought this was kind of funny because it's funny how if I leave, so I work a full-time job and I leave from my full-time job at 5 and I go straight to the gym and I help at the gym until about 7:30 and then I come home and then when I get home, Jared will come home and talk to me about things that happened at the gym for the day or whatever. And so he was telling me, he's like, Donna, he said, Willis, he went to this gym and he was coming to us too, and Willis kept saying, no, I'm faster. And he said, okay, Willis, let me see how fast you are. Let's test you. And so he tested Willis, and Willis was just as slow as what he was when he first started the gym.
Yeah, he went to this place. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah,
because I got sidetracked.
I was like, oh my God.
I got sidetracked on a different point of view. But, you're right. The Willis tested 0.2 of a second slower than he did when he left. And he spent a year to a year and a half on speed training. I said, speed training sucks.
And so he was
he couldn't believe
to
it.
Willis, he was like, how is it that you're faster? Because Willis was just arguing with Jared. How are you faster? if you're never being tested? You never were tested.
Will said, I feel faster. I said, you mean tell you something about your feelings? You need to throw the feelings at the freaking door because the feelings they don't matter. Hey, I'd rather feel like crap and run a 4.40 and feel great and run a 5 flat 40
Yeah,
like
so-
you. And Willis, you're running a 5.3 40-yard dash. So don't tell me you're faster because you just ran slower than your 4.9.
But it is quite amazing. After he was called out on everything, he's not left the gym.
He's not left.
He's been
No.
pretty consistent with coming.
But the people that he go to showcases with at Perfect Game, this one kid started coming to the gym. And he said, how come this kid is so much faster? Because Willis and this other kid went to the same gym before. But the dad
The same speed and agility play.
same speed and agility place. These people are selling you on your own freaking thought process.
Yeah, it's stupidity. Is
Yeah,
what it is.
if you want to be retarded, you keep doing and thinking the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
So anyway, this dad called me. He said, I found out why this guy, he said he was coming to you. So we're going to try you out. I said, okay. And so this kid went from a 5.3 40-yard dash to a 4.7 40-yard dash. 5.3 to a 4.7, lifting weights. We don't do speed drills. We don't do ladders. We don't do
Baby cakes.
cones. No, what we did was we increased his relative strength. And people think they can go to the weight room and work out. But I guarantee you, if you want to compete against me, I'm going to win. I'm not in the strength and conditioning world to lose.
Well, and I think that's what's wrong with society is
They
think,
think,
okay, well,
hey,
we
I
come
could
to
buy a-
this gym, and it looks like you're lifting weights. Like they can do that at high school, but it's totally different because you have teachers teaching this high school weight room
Yeah, but you know what? I got the strongest kids in Trinity. I got the strongest kids at East Coweta. I got the strongest kids at Sandy Creek. I got the strongest kids at McIntosh. I got the strongest kids at Stars Mill. I got the strongest kids in all counties. You know what the common quality is? Is they come to the gym. And the strength conditioning coaches or the strength conditioning coaches that are teachers,
They're jealous,
yeah, and they talk crap about me,
and it's an ego thing. It's just
and they've never even talked to me.
they don't even know you, and they,
No, but you know what? I would be willing to help them
yeah,
do what they need to do to help the athlete. It's not my job to be, what do you call it? Selfish. It's my job to help.
yeah.
And
I
that, my
think
job's to help the athlete, not anybody else. It's not even to help myself. I want someone to be better than what I am.
I think that's the problem is that
And these
you know,
coaches want to be successful, but they're not trying to help anybody else be.
No, they're just trying to be successful for themselves. They're not trying to help the athletes get from point A to point B in life, and they're just kids, you know. They're
And they don't even know they have to develop.
yeah, and so it's frustrating because you would think in today's society that if they want to be successful as coaches, they would be like trying to seek somebody who actually knows how to get their athletes better, and like the lacrosse team, you know, brings the whole team to you
Yeah, but you know
because
what?
they know.
They know what I know, and they believe in me. They were state runner-up last year, and so instead of saying, "Hey, scratch off," they started earlier this year, and I bet you, and I can almost guarantee you, they're going to win state
Yeah, it's
because training's a process. But on your thought process is like I'm a strength conditioning coach at Clayton State University, right?
and nobody cares about results.
No, well, they don't care about results because I was telling the coaches, hey, look, we did this, this, and that. And all they want the kids to do is come out of the weight room sweating.
Well, that's society.
And I said, no. I said, the weight room is for performance. I said, I'm going to use the weight room for performance parameters and not a conditioning tool. If you want to condition the kids, you take them to the basketball court and you condition them. I said, look, I can make them stronger. If you want to get in the paint and you want to post up against someone, I said, if you post up against a bear, you're going to freaking lose. I said, so as soon as you got the strength, posting up against someone that's stronger than you is much harder. Okay? Then if you take someone at 6'9" and you're 5'9", but you can jump a 40 and they jump a 30, you have just an equal amount of ability to block a shot. And so if you're taking a lower level athlete and you're making them a higher level, so you're taking this low level kid, you're putting 87 octane into a Porsche, you start putting 93 octane, you're going to have a much better performance. And so if you can't comprehend that, if you can't get out of this CrossFit, whatever type of workout mentality, you're going to lose. And so sometimes you just have to be a yes man and say like, okay.
I believe you do your job.
I'm going to shake my head. I'm going to say, okay, whatever you say, but I'm going to go do me.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's the problem is that, everybody wants to be like, oh, let's do this fad or let's do this new shiny toy or whatever. And it's really, it all goes back to lifting and results. And nobody really sees that. You can sit and lift.
Yeah, let me tell you something.
Or you can sit and do this program that somebody wants you to go through. But at the end of the day, if you're not being tested to see where you're at, how do you even know that you're even better than what you were when you first started? You don't.
The gym down the street that's trying to compete with us at Exposed Mechanics, they don't even have the room to test, but they want to sell speed
Well, there's
training.
multiple gyms that try to compete.
Well, there's one I can think of that really aggravates me.
And it's just frustrating.
And they're getting a new building, just not to call their name, but they don't test for speed.
Well, and they don't do the same training that we do.
No, but they want to emulate because their new place is going to.
Well, it's just
similar setup to what we have. So they want to look similar.
It's kind of funny how people will, we were in one town right down the street, and then somebody moves right next to where we are, and then the next thing you know, we're in the next town over, and then they're building right next to us, and then trying to do exactly what we do. But the thing is, if you don't know, then you can't really compete.
Yeah, they do a lot with adults. We do zero with adults.
It's all about the kids. The kids, they
want to do sports training, but they train adults. So what the freak kind of sports training is adult training? Adult training, they just want to be healthy and fit.
Yeah. Well, and with the whole CrossFit mentality, I think a lot of people really want to dive into that.
And that's just what do you call the CrossFit?
It's just a fad, I think. But that's just me. It's kind of like aerobics was in the 80s and 90s, and
people have to
Zumba, and it's just different names,
Different names, same thing. Steal your dollar, not getting any better.
Yeah, and then really you could end up getting hurt in the long run.
Yeah, a lot of chiropractors and
they're really benefiting.
And orthopedics love this CrossFit crap.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not CrossFit, we're performance. If you want to run faster, jump higher. If you want to be sports oriented, you want a scholarship, we're the place. But you have to educate yourself enough to understand what the freak you're doing.
And see what you actually want in life.
Yeah, if you want to be a bodybuilder, do not consult me, but you need to go consult Lee Haney. If you want to be the strongest and fastest person on the team, consult me. If you want to be average, go consult World Gym, because we're not freaking World Gym. You got to figure out you. Hey, if you got a kid that's a baby, you think the kid wants to be somebody, and the kid cries when he touches the bar.
Eventually, he really won't. It's just a time process.
Yeah. If you got a kid that cries when he touches the bar, make him be tough and continue to touch the bar. If he cries when he touches the bar and you don't like it, that he's crying or she's crying,
you need to ignore it, because eventually they will.
No, if they got to figure out if the kid's crying, you either send them to me to be better, or you send them to the gym down the street, or you take them home and put them in a freaking pillowcase. Because that crap's crazy.
Well, I think you have to push your kids. You just kind of have to know, the how much you can push your kids. And I think
Well, you got to talk about that because you didn't trust me at first.
no, but I think you see. I think the main thing is if parents could see the results
If they
that these
if they had a
kids
clone,
get.
if they had a clone, if you could take Cody A and Cody B, 10 years later, Cody A versus Cody B, the Cody B that was
And
trained
it's
versus
not even the results that they get, it's the confidence they get in themselves. Like today, telling this kid, I started this new thing where we post these kids that actually increased all of their stuff, at least 2/10 of a second on their 40, or they jumped at least 2 inches higher on their vertical or their broad. And we have these three brothers, and all three of the brothers have come consistently, and they have excelled in everything that they have done. And it's crazy because talking to those brothers today and seeing the one brother who doubted himself so much, smiling ear to ear, seeing his name on the board, seeing his dad dote and say all kinds of stuff about how great he was and how much he's progressed. And the month and a half that he's been at the gym is just, it's just amazing to see that the progress. And I think things like that, it really drives a kid to want to do more, to lift more, to be more explosive. Their confidence is huge. And I think that's what parents really need to see, is that these kids don't believe in themselves, and when they see results, it's going to drive their confidence through the roof. And then that's something that's going to drive them to want to come to the gym month after month until they reach their goal, or they continue to reach their goal month after month. And then
yeah. Well, let's talk about that. One of those three brothers improved their 40-yard dash so much I've never seen.
well, all of them.
Well, all three improved their
And he
40-yard
improved
dash more than
40.
2/10 of a second. But look, what impressed me is this kid improved his much more than the 10 years of any other kid I've ever seen improve his performance. The kid,
But he also improved his vertical. He improved his broad.
but the kid,
skyrocketed.
I have never seen a kid run from being like floppy footed to like light footed in a run. In my 10 years of experience with these athletes, this kid was the most improved that I've seen. And once he saw that, he started competing with his brothers. And this kid was the kid.
Well, if you could see,
He did not believe in himself.
No.
And he was the middle child.
Which is a struggle.
And he saw his numbers improve to the greatest of his best brother.
And his smile was just, his whole face was just lit up.
But you know what? The oldest brother came to me and he said, Jared, he now goes outside and plays with us. He never went outside and played with his brothers or anything because he hid within his own shell. And he started to go out. He said, Jared, he's actually playing with us. And I knew then I was doing my job, because other people would give up on somebody. He's not the most athletic thing, but I don't care about being the most.
No, it's the confidence
I don't.
that you build.
No, I don't care about that confidence. I don't care.
I do.
I don't care about being the most athletic. I care about making someone be one more step better than what they are today.
Well, that's confidence.
Well,
It's kind of like Kelvin. When Kelvin came to the gym,
Kelvin. Hey, but look, you're talking about kids.
Kelvin,
Hey, when
the
did you have
most
Kelvin on his freaking
unathletic-
podcast?
The most unathletic, uncoordinated.
Kelvin
kid
would walk
ever.
on his fucking pinky toe. Damn, I said F word again. Hey, Kelvin would walk on his pinky toe. Kelvin couldn't even walk flat-footed into the gym, head down. Oh, he couldn't even touch his chest with the freaking weight. I had him do dumbbells. Oh man, Kelvin, I cannot wait to have you on this freaking thing, because you are a true story.
And his mom, it was pretty amazing. I didn't realize this because she never really said, anything until like after everything.
She forced Kelvin. Hey, Kelvin
She
didn't
would
want.
force Kelvin to come
She
to the gym.
she
He would cry and
she
cry and cry.
she shoved him through those double doors.
She did, but she told me one day. She said, it's unreal. My kid could never skip. And I said, what? She said he could never skip. He was so uncoordinated, he could never skip. And she said, and I sat over here and I cried and cried and cried when I saw him skip through the gym one day.
But guess what, people? We never practice skipping at the gym.
No.
And we don't work on movement patterns. We work on movement patterns through weights. Movement patterns develop through the weights, not through doing the exercise. If you are weak, and if weakness is a true limitation of your ability, you cannot perform a pattern because you do not have the strength to perform those muscular movements. Muscle is pattern. So if you cannot do a muscular movement, it's not a skill set at that point. Is you need to develop the muscular strength to move that muscle in that specific pattern. And Kelvin did that. And we didn't train anything like that. And then people saw that. Then they started bringing their kid. And this kid started bringing this kid. And once you fix someone, you have to be there to help them. Kelvin was shoved through those doors by his mother, crying. Where are those parents at today? Oh, my kid don't want to go there. I'm going to take him home. Well, you take him home and you're going to be paying his light bill for the rest of his freaking life. Yeah. That's what's happening. These soft-minded kids are handed everything, and you're doing it. So if you're a parent listening to this and you're doing it to your child, I pray for you because you're weak and the kid's weak and going to be weak for the rest of your life. And let me tell you something. No one wants to be freaking weak. So won't you step out of your comfort shell and be somebody? My wife's looking at me like I just spoke the freaking gospel out there. But you know what? I did, because I'm telling the truth.
I think ultimately a parent does not want to support their kid for the rest of their lives. But it's hard to listen to somebody say, hey, you don't want to be weak and you don't want to get your kids to be weak. But I think that
just because you're weak does not mean you can't be strong.
No, you need to push your kids, and it's hard because as a parent you want your kids not to hurt, but it's better for your kids. I mean, I remember growing up and I got beat, with a belt by my mother, and because my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad worked, and we need to get back to the basics of life. These kids need to understand that they need to fear their parents. And
when the hell's the pecking order in this world?
Yeah.
You need to learn where you stand in line. If you're last and you want to be first, you better do something to grow about it instead of go home and cry. Because you go home and cry, you can be later than the caboose. Yeah. Man, freak off.
I think we have talked way too long.
Yeah, this is our first podcast, but this is
we can talk about all kinds of stuff all night long just because it's just a part of our life.
Yeah, I think the gym has actually become a part of your life because you didn't really ever live.
I love the kids. I love the kids that have come. I love talking to them.
We love
trying to guide them and
the kids that have been loyal to the gym are truly special. And they're going to make their way in life.
Mm-hmm. One way or another.
Yep, because they have persevered through the hard work and dedication. Like when you come to the gym, I push you.
Well, I think the best part of the gym is when you have the kids that came for years and then they've gone on and they've gone through college and they come back after they've graduated college and they have a job and they come back to just say, hey, and you're just like,
on my end, that's good. The kids in the gym now don't know.
No, they don't really know, but it's just such a special part of your heart, So
I think you've realized that more over the years.
Yeah.
With Kelvin and them graduating, he's about
to graduate.
Kelvin was doing dumbbell incline one day, And I said, "You're not touching." This is freaking hilarious. Kelvin, you're not touching your chest. He goes down. I said, "Touch your chest, Kelvin." And he went touching his chest. And he went down and he just threw his freaking dumbbells about 9 feet in front of him. "I am touching my chest." I said, "Damn it, Kelvin, you're hard." But he was. But now he's learned. But the thing is when kids come to the gym, they don't realize how high they can jump.
They just don't realize.
Or they don't realize how
capacity in life.
No, they don't realize how strong they are, and they don't realize how high they can jump. Mm-hmm. Kelvin went to ninth grade weight training, and he could not get over how weak the kids were.
Well, that's society.
And I said, "Kelvin, you don't realize how strong you are."
Yeah.
You know, I said,
and I think
I said, when you're in the gym atmosphere, whether you're if you're at Westside Barbell, and you're bench pressing 800-900 pounds, you cannot fathom the idea of someone benching only 400, because once you become so advanced, you don't realize what weak is.
Well, and I think that's what's funny is, I've seen people, bench and squat like, hundreds, thousands of pounds, and it's amazing to me. These parents come in and they're like, "Oh, my son and my daughter are so strong."
But they can't even
even tell you how strong they are, and you're just like, "Well, how do you know they're strong?"
Yeah, ask them what is strong to you. How strong are they relative to their body weight?
Yeah.
Then they start looking at you like, "What do you mean?" And so what I mean is,
you have to have some kind of comparison.
You have to have a standard, and if you can't tell me specifically how strong your child is, you don't even know what strong is. Yeah. They're strong because they are your child.
Yeah.
And well, this is perfect. You're as a mother, you think your kids are the best.
Yeah. And sometimes not so much.
Well, when they get older, you understand the mistakes because the kid's older now. But when they're younger, they really don't do any wrong. And when they were crying in the garage 10 years ago, who got yelled at, me or them?
You did, because they were children.
Yeah. But you know what? They grow up to be men.
They do. And I think that's what's wrong is I always wanted to put them in a basic bubble, I guess. But you realize as time goes on that that's like the worst thing you can do for your kid,
Yeah, everything's not nice.
Mm-mm.
Everything's not handed to you.
You can't protect your kids always. You have to let them go through pain and go through suffering and learn on their own, because if you don't, then it's going to backfire.
Big time.
Yeah. So.
What advice, is that the advice you would give to parents nowadays?
Yeah, through trials and everything, I think.
Because you were a teacher, you need to tell.
Yeah, I it's funny because I had this parent, I remember so vividly how this parent I told this parent that her son had stolen from another student, and she said, "Oh, my son, he would never do that." And she said, "I want to have a conference." And I said, "Okay, let's have a conference." And so she came in with her husband, and her husband was a police officer, and we had the conference. She said, "Well, do you mind if I bring my son in so he can talk with you?" And I said, "No, I don't mind at all." And so she brought her son in, and her son admitted to stealing from the student, and she cried and cried and cried because she said, "Well, my son has never lied to me." And I said, "Oh, no. Your son has lied to you before. Your son will lie to you again. And your son will continue to lie, because that's what kids do. They're not always honest. They're always going to try to manipulate the situation, and it's heartbreaking, and that's parenting, and I think the best thing for a kid is to learn on their own, because you try so hard to protect them, and it's probably the worst thing you can do, because they need to learn on their own so that they can.
how do you separate that mother nature protecting versus letting them go? And you've had experiences.
It's really hard.
But
It's really hard. I
what
don't
what
know.
advice could you give to someone to help with that?
I think unless you've probably went through it yourself, you really don't understand. Because as a mother, that's just what your nature is to protect your kids from every hurt and everything that they go through. You want to protect them, but you're talking to somebody who wouldn't even let their child ride their bike 2 doors down.
Yeah,
because I was so scared that they were going to be like abducted or something. And
yeah, she was crazy about her kids, but that's a mother, and that's a mother nowadays too.
yeah,
And she's not abnormal. She is the person that you need to try to help. The kids are going to be the kids, and they're going to be who they want to be.
The best thing that somebody can do as a mother is let your kids be themselves and let them learn on their own, because
within limitations.
Exactly. You always have to be there, and let them know that you're there.
If they screw up, they need to know that you're there.
But I think that always trying to intervene and always trying to make sure that they're not hurt or something's is probably the worst thing you can do.
Being hurt, they need a kid that's
and I think
being hurt needs to let hurt.
They need to
Let hurt. Being
experience
hurt
that.
is okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Hurt's not abnormal.
Because everybody has been hurt, and everybody's going to be hurt in life. But I think
whether feeling scraped, pain, broken.
I think that's what develops you as a person. I think that the pain, the heartache, the love, the friendship, everything that you encounter in life kind of develops you as a person. And if you're always there encouraging them no matter what, I think they'll turn out just fine. I was disciplined and spanked, and
I got my ass beat all the time.
yeah, and but I always knew that at the end of the day, my parents were going to be there for me, whether it was, whether they were going to want to be there for me or not. I knew they were going to be there for me.
Yeah,
so.
the thing about the parents is, regardless of what a kid thinks, they can always go back to the parent. The parents can answer or help them with the situation, but they don't always have to baby them in a situation.
Yeah, and so I think now that seems to be the issue, is that they don't want to push their kids. Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Okay.
Yeah, like that's why I think Chanel and Danielle have been successful. When Sharice dropped them off at the gym, she dropped them off and left. Came back, picked them up. Sharice, they did not finish their deadlift. She cussed them out. Yeah. Get your asses back in the gym, and you're going to do what you need to do, and your dad's going to be here to pick you up.
Well, but then you also have the athlete that has that inner drive, like Zach Lasky.
Well, like got Brooks and Shawn Michaels. There's people I told the parents.
Yeah.
They're not going to make the gym.
No.
And they continue to show the parents drop the kid off. Never saw the parent. They show up continuously over and over and over again. I'm like, what the heck are you doing here?
Like Brandy. She was.
Oh, Brandy come in freaking sleep. Joe wanted to sleep. The original kids had the original hardworking parent. The kids, they didn't want to do it.
But they did it.
Mm-hmm. And they are now somebody.
Yeah.
Which is, on our end, is truly amazing to see someone grow up through the whole entire process.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see that. Even like Cody, Kyle starting to understand, Colton starting to grow.
It's just age, and it's...
But you know what? We've had kids that come to the gym that hated it, like what we talk about. Like
well, we've had kids come, and it's frustrating because
Well,
parents will come for like a month or not even like one try, and the kids are like, "Oh, I don't want to do this because it's just weightlifting," but it's really not weightlifting. It's so much more than weightlifting.
well, I told this when we had a kid sign up today. His bench press went up 10 pounds, went from 145 to 155 as a high school freshman, just because I altered a minor technical thing in his bench press technique.
Yeah.
And then I had another kid last week. His bench max is 125. We started him off at 75 pounds to correct technique. So he went from 125 to 175. But we started off manipulating technique with 175. So once they get the thing is the angle of the elbow and press downs, how their bench press setup is when they bench, where the bar is positioned on their chest, the technicalities of these things, although we're benching and although we're squatting, although we're doing press downs and although we're doing these other exercises, people do not understand the technicalities of the elbow, where the elbow needs to be, where the shoulders need to be when they bench press, where the bar needs to be placed. They're not understanding that. They're just, they're bench pressing. Well, okay, yeah, they are bench pressing. But can you do the same thing? No, because you don't understand. All you do is paint a picture of what you see. Mm-hmm. And today, this dad was like, I can't believe he went up 10 pounds just because of technical things. I said, that's what I'm here for. You wanted me to help your kid? I'm going to help your kid to the best of my ability. Mm-hmm. It's not, hey, I'm going to take your kid through a bench press workout because I think I can bench press.
And we're going to do a program, and I want you to pay this much amount of money, and we're going to sign you up for 3 months.
Yeah. What's the point of Hey, let me tell you one thing. I don't require a contract. All I care about is results. And so if you're signing up for a contract, that person's playing you into a role of, hey, let me get paid for 3 months, then screw off. Basically, right?
Yeah.
So, you have anything else to say, Donna?
We'll have to continue our conversation.
Hey, I think she's tired, everybody. I don't know. But anyway, well, thanks for listening in, and thanks for the support. If you have any questions, I'll do my best I can to help you. Please email me at info@Explosive Mechanics. Follow me on Twitter at Explosive MEC or Instagram at Explosive Mechanics. Thank you, and have a good night. Thanks.